Hello, this is Kate with Kate's Paper Creations, bringing you my weekly current catalog video and blog. And today I am featuring the stamp set or bundle called Delicate Petals. It's found on page 57 of your January to June mini catalog from Stampin' Up. And I have a card for you today that I made. I hope that if you haven't subscribed to my blog that you will, and also if you do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to have you shop with me through my online store, and the link to that is in the description below. So this is the card I am going to make today. I will share with you a couple of little tips and tricks, and as I said, we're using the Delicate Petals bundle. So this is the stamp set, and this is the dies. There's some really unique things about these dies that I like. You've got a stamp that will stamp the center, and then you can cut out the outline, or you can cut out the outline with the detailed piece that goes in the center. And the trick I have for you today, and I'll be showing you that with the centers of the flowers as well, is you can lay these down and get them perfectly centered like this, and then just put a piece of washi tape on it to hold it in place once you get it where you want it. Kind of get it centered like that, and then I just tuck it together with a piece of washi tape. And there's 4 petals for each, so the 4 large ones and 4 small ones are all the same. And so you can just get them ready, and you can cut out 4 at a time, which if you're making multiples of those, that's kind of nice. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that little trick that you could do that will keep these together when you're putting them through your Stampin' Cut and emboss machine, whatever. Okay, so that's the stamp set we're going to use. I started with a standard, let me get that out of the way, A2 greeting card base. So this is basic white thick. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And when you're scoring, whenever you score, there's 2 sides, one that looks indented and one that looks raised. And just for those that might not know, beginners, card makers or whatever, you want to fold it towards the raised side, and then you can burnish it with the edge of your bone folder or anything that you have. And it's going to be a top fold greeting card. Then layer number 1 is, get my colors right here, Coastal Cabana. And I cut it the same size as the full front of the card. So it is 4 1/4 by 5.5. And I'm going to attach it to the front of the card with regular adhesive. And I have a tendency to put some in the middle just to make sure it holds well, and very carefully line up those 2 corners, and the rest should just fall into place, and it does. I love it when it comes out right. Okay, that's layer 1. The next layer is going to be just basic white regular. It is 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to just smooth down the edges just a little bit. Sometimes my cut trimmer leaves a little bit of an edge. There we go. So this is 4 by 5 1/4, and it is what I call the art piece, and it's what we're going to be stamping. So let me start with, I'm going to start with the larger petals. So this is the petal I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be using this center. And I'm stamping the large flower with Melon Mambo. And let me show you the trick, how I did that and got those all to line up perfectly. Okay, so I'm putting it with this to the outside. The wider end is going to be the outside part of the petal, and the point is going to go towards the center. And for my first initial placement, I just kind of picked where I wanted one petal to go. I think right there is going to work. And that gave me an idea of where to place the center. Okay, and I'm just going to ink it, and yeah, right about there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Right there's where I'm going to put the center of this flower. So it may end up looking just a little bit different than my original. then I'm inking this, and I am going to use this to help me know where to place the petal. And I am placing just that point right in the center of that circle. Just like that. Then I stamped directly across. Now I stamped off here, and that's okay. I wanted it to do that. That's not a mistake. Okay, then I'm going to go straight across from it and do the same thing and just match point to point and stamp. Then I'm going to do the 3 o'clock ones, or whatever you want to call it, and I'm doing the same thing. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm centering that point right in the center of that circle. Now I'm going to be covering this up so that it doesn't matter that this is going to look a kind of funky in the middle, because it's going to get covered up, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Then once I got those on, then it's just a matter of filling in the other sides. I'm just working my way around. And by keeping that point right in the center, then my petals are all evenly the same even length. And there's that flower. It came out beautiful, didn't it? I just love it. Okay, now, as I said, there's a die for the center of the flowers, and it's a 2-part die. And let me get that so I can show you. I have it here on my desk somewhere. Oh, there it is. And I did just what I showed you in that first little bit. I put the circle, the outer circle down, and the center part. I lined them up like that, and then I put a piece of washi tape on it, and then I put it on my thing and cut it out. And so this is the center out of that same Mango Melody cardstock, and that's going to go over the center of the flower like that. So it's going to cover up that centerpiece that I did kind of abuse there just a little bit. So that's what that's going to look like. Okay. The next flower I did, I used Calypso Coral. Now, before I start, you can see that this one overlaps this petal here just a little bit. And what I did to accomplish that is I stamped one of these petals onto a piece of regular copy paper, just thin copy paper. And I cut it out. Now, the reason I didn't use the die to cut this out is dies typically cut just slightly larger. And when you're using a piece like this to mask something off, like this, you want to actually cut it slightly smaller, just a hair bit smaller than the original design, so that when you do the masking, you don't end up with great big gaps at the edges of things. So that's what I did. I stamped it and cut it out, and then I'm going to put, I have put, but I'll show you, my Tombow removable adhesive on the back. That allows me to stick it down without having any permanent damage. And I'm going to cover up that petal. And I think I'll cover this one up too, just to be on the safe side, because I'm not sure how I'm going to make that other one, how I'm going to place that other flower. It's obviously going to have its own unique placement from card to card. No two are going to be exactly the same. But I am going to clean that center one up and clean up the, oh, and I'm using the smaller petals. They have 2 sizes. This is the smaller one, and that's the one I'm going to be using for the smaller flower. And it's from, like I said, it's from Calypso Coral. So again, I just picked a spot, and I decided that I would put this one about like so. So I'm going to put my flower center right about here. And then we'll start working our way around, just like I did before. Wide end on the out, lining up that thing to the center, going straight across from it to start with. So it looks like that. Then we're going to go like this. And like this. And see, I don't know if it's going to overlap or not. It's just not going to make it there. So that's okay, because every configuration is going to be unique. and that's okay. Little tiny bit of overlap on that one. Spaced them a little bit differently on that one, but it's okay. So then we'll peel up these masks just so you can see. It looks like the yellow flower is the Mango Melody flower is just slightly overlapping the other one. And again, it's going to get a Calypso Coral center to go on it as well. And I just put those down, and we can do that right now, actually. It's not going to hurt a thing, with mini glue dots. And I just placed a mini glue dot right in the center like that. And then stuck these down to the center like that. Just like that. Okay, then I decided that it needed some leaves. And there are 2 leaf stamps in the set, a larger leaf and a smaller one. And so for the larger flower, I'm going to use the larger leaf, and I'm actually making the leaves in just jade. Now I wanted the leaves to look like they were coming up from behind the petals on the flower. So again, I'm using my masks, and I'm going to put one here and one here. And I'm going to put the larger leaf with just jade between those 2 flowers. Petals like that. Then when I pick them up, it makes it look like the leaf is poking out from behind. And I think I'm going to put one over here. So I'm going to do this. And like that. And there's that leaf peeking out from behind. A little bit of my temporary tape there. And I think I'm going to let this one be here, right next to it, like this. And there's my leaves poking out from behind. And then for the small one, I'm going to do the same thing. I've made 2 with the petals. I've cut them, stamped them, and cut them out slightly smaller, just like I did with the larger ones. And I'm going to put my mask down like this. And then I'm using the smaller leaf this time. Get it in the right direction. Like that. And you know, I'm thinking that it might be kind of fun. No, I don't think so. I changed my mind. I'm going to put the other leaves over here. And I guess I didn't have to pull up both of them, but that's okay. And here, like this. And like that. And that gives me the leaves poking out from under the petals. I think it looks lovely like that. Then I felt like there was too much white space. I wanted more, something else in there. So I used the next color, which is the Coastal Cabana. And I've shared before in another video, there's a place online where you can go to get inspiration for what colors to use. And I forget the name of it, but I'll put the link in the description box below. And it has all the current Stampin' Up! Colors in there. And I click on the Surprise Me button, and it brings up 5 colors. And so the 5 colors that were brought up that I'm working with today were the Just Jade, Calypso Coral, Mango Melody, Coastal Cabana, and Misty Moonlight. I did not end up using the Misty Moonlight, but I used the other 4 colors. And in my blog, it explains that, and the link for that is in my blog as well. So you can go to my blog and do that. So this is the Coastal Cabana, and and a little tiny bunch of dots, and they're probably intended for the flower centers, but I am just going to randomly place a few of these around the open white space. Just because I felt like it needed a little something in here. And that's enough, not a bunch, just a little bit. And then the last thing I did was add just a little bit of bling, and this is the Elegant Faceted Gems. And they have 3 colors, white and clear, and I'm not sure, I didn't write down what the other color is supposed to be, but it's in your catalog. And I'm using the clear ones. Before I put those on, though, I'm going to attach this to the front of my card. And I am attaching it just flat with regular adhesive. You could raise it up if you wanted to. It does have the 1/8 inch border around because of the way I cut it. Just slightly smaller, but I decided to leave it flat. Line up my 3 sides, and there we go. So now it's attached. Now I'm going to put some of these clear, turn it over, get it. And there's 2 sizes, so I kind of did a little bit of both sizes. I did 2 small ones and a large one here. They're not real thick. They're somewhat flat. They're not super bulky like a pearl is, but they have these little crosshatch look in them, and they're really kind of cute. So they don't just look flat clear. They've got texture too in and of themselves, which is kind of cool. And a large one in here somewhere. And so there is my current catalog card for today. Isn't that lovely? I kind of like them. It was a challenge to use the colors for me. What I like about using that color challenge place is sometimes we get kind of stuck in a rut, and we have a tendency to know what our favorite colors are, and we have a tendency to want to always go to them. And so this gave me an opportunity to challenge my thinking and break out a little bit and use some different colors together. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. I thank you for stopping by.